Okay. So the agenda for this session is going to be try to understand. So we heard a lot from uh, the previous panel that resume is kind of important for job application, internships, and then full-time roles, right? So we look at how exactly we can work on improving resumes. What are the bad practices, right? What makes a strong resume? And then what we'll do is like we'll do an interactive resume audit where it would be nice if you can sit across each like next to each other so that you can share your resumes between your peers and then try to discuss among yourselves and see what's bad on your resume, get feedback from everyone, and we'll go towards building your own resume. We have a template for that, and then we'll share that template as well. And along with that, after that, we'll have a live feedback where you can share your resume to us, and then we'll do a resume roasting kind of session at the end. Right. So let's get started. To why your resume matters, right? So we all know that in today's job market, with how things are changing, resume is kind of the most important piece that everyone is going to share with all the hiring managers, recruiters, right, HR people, or anyone in your network for that matter, if you want to show them what exactly you have built or done during your education. So, but the challenging part is we invest so much time into building a resume, but the recruiters kind of spend about like 6 to 8 seconds just glancing over it. And if they like it, only then they'll go and look deeper into it. Right. So it is important from that perspective that you build a good first impression based on what are the requirements of the job, right? So it is very important to tailor it to the specific needs of internships, what are all the research position you might be applying for, or a full-time role. So along with this, it should also communicate impact, not just what you have done, like what was the impact of your activity that you have done, right? So it becomes important to highlight all of this. So what are some of the common, with this background set, right? And if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me at any point in time, right? So with this background, what are some of the common resume mistakes to avoid? Um, Sometimes what I have seen is like I have reviewed a lot of resumes so far. Some of the resumes are like 3 pages, 4 pages, doesn't make sense, right? And what they try to do is they try to cram everything, like they're just trying to share their master resume with the recruiters, which is not good, right? And along with that, poor formatting. Some of them share doc directly Word document, right? And along with that, their name is one format in one text format, the font size is different, and then the content header is in a different format, and the body is in different format. And if they have 3 or 4 experiences, all of them are in their own designs, right? So this makes it very annoying to look at it. And then when some recruiter looks at it, it builds a very bad first impression. So because of that, they'll just pass over your resume, right? And third one is kind of pretty crucial. With design is one part, but the other part is like what is the material that's present on your resumes, right? So it is important to quantify your work. So if there are no measurable outcomes, like let's say you're working on a project, and then I am from an AI background, so you might hear a couple of examples from that domain. Right. So if you're working on a classification project of, let's say, faces or not faces, uh, what would happen is like sometimes people would just say that, oh, I have built this classification project, but what was the outcome of it? How much accuracy did you achieve by building that project? What were all the metrics that you observed? If you don't give these metrics, it becomes very hard for the recruiter to understand where you're coming from, right? And then passive language. This is kind of a minor thing, right? But uh, having like phrases like worked on or helped with, uh, that kind of minimize your contributions, right? The contributions verb should be pretty strong in how you're portraying those emotions of the activities that you have done. So what is an anatomy of a strong resume, right? So the common requirements are having a header. It should have your name, phone, email, which are mandatory, And if you're from a computer science background, I think all of us here are, right? You need to have a GitHub profile where you're posting your implementations and then committing to GitHub. That shows how actively you're coding every day, or what are the projects that you have worked on. And when you say that you have worked on some project in your resume, they have a place to look at it. And that is why GitHub is very important. And then if you're building website kind of applications or mobile applications, it becomes very important to have a portfolio, like your own website where you can host these applications that you have built and then showcase it to the whoever is going to be interviewing you. They can look at all your projects and then judge, okay, is that person a good candidate for our team? Right. So these are the things that are very important. And of course, LinkedIn, I think, which all of us have. Along after LinkedIn, after your header section, the next most important section is going to be education, right? If you're a student who is graduating or who have graduated within the past 1 year, it is important to have your education as the first section item. If you have experience for more than 2 to 3 years, you switch between experience and education. So experience would come first then. So this is very important when you're applying for a job after you're already a part of a team where you're working as a full-time person. Only then you move your experience ahead. Until then, your education is going to be your next section that is going to highlight what you're doing. After that, your experience could contain internships, jobs, or any kind of leadership roles, right, which quantify achievements and impact. After that comes your project. It could be academic. It could be, in terms of academic, you could have done a hackathon, right? You could have participated in something like that and then won something, right? If it is a project, highlight that this is the project that I worked on, and then we implemented this during this hackathon and we won the first place. And that way you're presenting two different information in one section, right? And along with that, you can highlight what is the problem solving skills that you possess through these projects. After this, you can highlight about your skills and achievements. My personal preference is that right after education, you should put your skills section, which highlight what are all your programming languages that you know, what are all the database things, tools that you are aware of, right? What are all the frameworks that you are aware of? All of this comes right after your education, and then achievements come to the end. Like if you were awarded some sort of sponsorship, or you got a scholarship, all of these can also kind of push you ahead, right? So that is why highlighting these things at the end also makes sense. With all of this anatomy, right, the limitation is that you need to do all of this in a page, right? That's the challenging part of resume building. So you might have 2 or 3 or more pages worth of master resume content, but how exactly do you look at making it in a one-page format is what is more important. So we'll get into that in the coming slides. But given this setup, and then we have kind of discussed what are all the weaknesses of the resume, like what are the common mistakes that you need to avoid. So what kind of statements do you need to make, right? So let's look at 2 different examples over here, right? We have a person saying that they worked on a machine learning project for a class. It doesn't say anything what exactly they did. But if you look at the strong example over there, you can say like, built a convolutional neural network achieving 92% accuracy on image classification and reduced inference time by 15% through model optimization. So what does this convey over here? They worked on convolutional neural networks, and the task was image classification, and they achieved 92% accuracy. And then they didn't limit at that. They went ahead and then improved the model performance by optimizing it, and that reduced the inference time by 15%. Right? So this shows what a good a bullet point should be for your experience or for your projects, right? So this kind of differentiates what is a weak pointer and what is a strong pointer, right? So always remember, always ask yourself, what did I achieve? How much did I achieve? How fast? Compared to what? And along with these questions, you need to use numbers, percentages, and time frames to make your contributions concrete and impressive. Right. So with this setup, right. So what we'll do is like we'll start the resume audit part where I hope all of you have your resumes on your mobile phones or on your laptops. What we'll do is like, this is the resume audit checklist, right? So what we need to look at while we are reviewing each other's resume is that, is it clear and is it in a professional formatting? Like I have described what exactly that means. Does it follow logical, easy to follow structure? Is it education, like header education, and then skills, experience, projects, and then achievements? Does it follow the structure, right? Does it have good, strong action verbs throughout, right? Does it have quantifiable, measurable results? And one of the most important thing, it should have zero grammar or spelling errors, right? This is a big no when someone is looking at your resume, because if they see one fault, they just brush your resume past, right? So with this setup, right, I hope all of you have your resumes out. What we'll do is like pair a with the person sitting next to you or close to you. If you don't have someone, please come ahead and then sit with someone. Um, Review each other resumes, and then we'll go from there. Any questions so far? Anyone has any questions? Okay, cool. If you have any questions or anything, if you want us to come and help you out as well, just call us. We'll come and talk to you guys. Any questions? How's it going? Yep. Is everyone done or still doing it? You done? Okay. Done? Cool. Mm. Okay. Should we go to the next slides? Yep. Okay. So now that you have reviewed, right, you might have observed some sort of a vague information, or some of them might be really good as well. Right. So how can you make weak bullets into a strong ones, right? So uh, if you look at this example, so there is a methodology called STAR, right? So we look at what exactly that means ahead. But this is a best representation, or approach that you can use to make anything that's vague into something that's powerful, and then kind of demonstrate your skill and impact. So if any statement is vague, what does that mean? It means there is no specific technologies that are mentioned, right? There are a lot of passive verbs that are used, right? There are no measurable outcomes and doesn't show individual contributions. Even if you work in a team setting on a project, it is very important that you show what exactly you did as an individual contributor on the resume, right? So that is the example statement that we have over there, which is worked on a website for a team project. But if you were to make it more specific and then impactful, we could say it as designed and deployed a React web application with RESTful API integration, improved page load time by 40% through optimization, serving 500 plus active users, right? So in this, we have improved whatever were the limitations in the previous statement. So what are we discussed what are the good way to make it better. So what are all the format and design best practices that we need to follow? Right. So one is that we need to have proper margins. If you use Word, it is very hard to maintain margins, and then formatting it is a pain. Right. So there is a tool called Overleaf, which I'll be sharing that format as well on how you can use that and then update a resume. And along with that, you need to have a readable font size. It should be between 10 to 12 points. Sometimes because you want to fit more content, you might feel like going towards 8 points as well, but it makes it not readable, right? So you need to avoid that. And you need to have consistent bullet points. You can't have like a dash or a round one or a square one. So it needs to be uniform throughout so that it looks clean, right? And have strategic emphasis. So what does emphasis mean? You can either bold a particular text, or you can underline that particular text as well. So you can do things like this. And along with this, always export your resume to PDF before sharing it with anyone, right? Don't ignore this one, because this is a major big no for a lot of people. The moment you share a docx and then it asks them to download it on their system, they just hit escape and then go to the next one. So these are all the design principles that you follow, but how do you tailor your resume according to the requirements of different roles, right? So we have 3 different roles over here. One is a research position, industry or full-time roles, or internships. So let's start with internships, because I think that is what would be more interesting for a lot of us here. Right? In internships, whenever you're applying for internships, what are the things that you need to highlight? You need to emphasize on learning agility and adaptability. What does that mean? You need to show that in your classwork, you're working on multiple projects, right? So given that they are from different domains, what does that show? You're showing that, okay, I can switch from topic 1 to topic 2 to topic 3 pretty quickly and then get those things done, right? That shows your agility and also adaptability. And you have different diverse set of technical skills and tools, right? Because in class projects, you need different tools. Again, that again covers it. Coursework and academic projects, right? How enthusiastic are you, and what is your, are you in a growth mindset? What does growth mindset mean? You should be eager to learn, right, from the job, and always be on the path of constant improvement. Take feedback constructively, right? And then make sure that you improve on the constructive criticism that you get from your managers or anyone who is a mentor in the industry, right? And then what are all the relevant extracurriculars? What happens is that when you're in an academic setting, sometimes what a lot of us tend to do is that we just want to finish classes, go home, relax at home, and do nothing else, right? That doesn't show that you're in a growth mindset. So it is very important that you participate in extracurriculars, like be part of clubs, participate in events, go and attend conferences outside, attend hackathons, participate in hackathons. Just participating and then showing up there and then trying to learn something from the mentors there is itself a growth mindset, right? So it is important to do all of this outside of your academics, so that you kind of show that, okay, I'm here to learn, I want to improve myself, and that those are the things that give you an opportunity to interview for internships. If you're applying for full-time role, you should be able to understand what kind of business impact that you're trying to create, right? What are all the measurable results, right? So a lot of companies, what they emphasize lately is that you have to understand what exactly their business is before showing technical skills. So unless you're going and applying for a research position where you are required to have a really great technical skill sets, if you're applying from a software perspective or any other domain perspective, you should show that you have a bit of business acumen. So how do you build that? So you need to attend events. And again, it comes back to the same points, right? And along with that, you are a cross-functional, you have cross-functional teamwork, and then you are open for collaborations, right? So work with different people. Don't work on solo projects. That shows collaborations. And then project delivery and deadlines. Coursework covers this already. And then scalability and production-ready solutions. Because when you go to, if you were here for the panel discussion, they were highlighting a lot on how quickly you can build your project into a production setting, right? So building your projects into a production level application is very important. So you need to learn what are all the skill sets that you need to do, you need to learn to take a project from a simple academic project into a production level project. Only then when you showcase these kind of skill set, it becomes very easy for the person who is interviewing you to know that, okay, they're ready to come and start their jobs. And these are very hard to teach in academic settings. So it is on us to sit and learn these things and then build these skill sets. But when it comes to research, it's a totally different ball game altogether. You should have really good amount of published papers. You should have attended a lot of conferences and presented in conferences. You should know how to go deeper into a particular topic and then explain it in depth, right? And then you should be specialized in particular tools, and you should show collaborative work over there as well. Without collaboration, research won't progress at all. So it is very important to show like you are a collaborative person, right? And along with that, having grants, awards, or academic honors always helps. So these are the kind of ways how you can tailor your resumes for different types of roles, right? So what does ASU do for this, right? ASU has multiple resources. ASU has a ASU Career Services, which gives you resume guidance. They have if you scan that QR code over there, it gives you a particular, not one or two, it has so many resources there that you will understand how to build your portfolio, how to build your resume, what are all the adjectives that you can use, right? So all of this is available on that resource, right? And along with this, there are a lot of engineering resume templates. So what we have done is that we have taken those resume templates and then converted them into LaTeX formats. So you can use this overlay formats that we will share, and then directly just add your values or whatever text you want to add there, and then just show that, okay, you will have a resume ready in the format that ASU wants you to have it ready. Along with this, there are a huge number of action verbs list that is present in the resource link that is shared over there. And then I think ASU also provides the skill first review portal where you can upload your resumes, and there are a lot of peers who review your resumes and then give you feedback. So this becomes important because people who are not from your domain might be reviewing your resumes in this portal. So that way you get feedback from people who might not understand the work that you're doing, and that might help you improve your resume's reach as well, because your hiring manager might not be from the same domain that you're an expert in, right? With all of this done, there's another important thing that always is kind of ignored, which is ATS optimization, right? This has become so big right now. If your resume is not ATS optimized, you'll get a rejection email within a day, because as soon as you put your resume into these portals, what happens is that it goes through this applicant tracking system, which kind of screens your entire resume, scans for particular keywords related to the job application, and then sees if it is there or not. If anything is missing, it immediately kind of rejects your resume. And these rejection emails are not coming in from recruiters, but directly from this ATS tool. So how exactly you can overcome this, right? So we have spoken about having the standardized section headers, right? You need to always have education, skills, experience, right? Don't move away from these words. Don't use something like a professional experience or say that academic experiences. Keep it as one section, have it as experience. The moment you add anything else to it, ATS fails. It might have become better now with the whole AI coming into a lot of reviews, but it's still always safer to have these kind of standardized headers. And along with this, include keywords from the job description. So always review the job description and then optimize your resume to fit that job description. Take the keywords from that and then plug it in directly. If the job description has a keyword like Python, don't add a sentence in your resume saying that I am proficient in Python programming. In skills, just highlight Python. That is more than enough. If you add the sentence, it is taking up your like whatever layout that you have, right? And it kind of shortens the area where you can enter more important information. And along with this, avoid complex formatting. Don't add tables. Don't add text boxes, right? Don't add headers or footers. It kind of confuses the entire system, right? And don't add graphics. Don't add images on your resumes at all. Especially because we are in US does not have a requirement for your images on the resume. Don't add that. After that, if you're using acronyms like artificial intelligence, right after artificial intelligence, make sure you mention it as AI and then use AI in rest of the other places so that ATS can track that. If you directly start using AI everywhere, it won't understand what exactly you mean. And if a keyword does not match, you might get a reject email there. Right? So with these kind of optimization and also what are all the key things that you need to include kind of covered, what we will do is like we'll go and look at building your own resume from scratch, right? So for that, there is this QR code where we have an overleaf template. What I'll do is like I'll walk you over what you can and how you can enter the details in this. And how we will kind of work it out is that we look at the star. What is star? Star is situation, task, action, and result. So what does situation mean? What were the problem statement that you were given to solve, right? And task is how were you planning? How did you solve this problem? And to solve this problem, what were all the set of actions that you took? And what were the results observed after you solved this problem? And the goal is to not have one sentence for each of these 4 points. The goal is to have one sentence that covers all of these 4 points, right? So that is where it takes a lot of effort and then optimizing these sentences to make sure it fits into this format. So what you can do is that you can go scan that overleaf template. And then if you have it on your laptop, what we'll do is like, I'll show you quickly how you can fill it up. And then after that, let's take like 10 minutes or so, and then let's go over. If you already have your resume, we can use that and then fill it up directly over here. And then after going home, you can sit and improve your resumes later. So for that, let me quickly jump into that. So in this one, you don't have to worry about a lot of things. All you need to worry about, I can actually show you how exactly a resume that has been filled in this would look like. I can show my own resume. Yeah, so it would look something like this, right? What is your name? What is your email, phone number, details, and things like that. And then we'll look at how exactly we can fill up the same things on your the LaTeX template that I have shared, and then you'll get a format something like this. And this is a format that is recommended by ASU, so you can definitely use this one. Right. So to start with, you can start going ahead and then filling the details over here. If you don't have anything like, let's say, website, you can just remove it, and then it'll automatically take care of the formatting on the PDF rendering. So once you are done with that, all you can do is just go here and then hit on recompile, and then it will recompile and then show the details. So I can quickly show you how it would look like. So if I go to full name and then enter my name and then email, and then if I hit recompile, you can see that it has updated it over here, right? So as soon as you enter the rest of the fields, it'll automatically fill in things over here. Similarly, for education, you can go to this education item over here. And then if you're doing your undergrad, fill in that, what is your program over here? And then when are you graduating? What is the grades, that grade point average that you have over here? If you are in your master's program and you want to enter both bachelor's and master's, just copy this and then paste it over here, and then it will show two different education items over here. Right? Similarly, for experience, you can do the same thing. If you have a publications, you can have that, or you can just remove this section entirely from the beginning to the end, all of this. And then you can add skills, like what are the programming languages that you have, tools you know, right? And similarly for experience, you can add things over here. So what I will do is like, I'll leave you guys to it for, we'll take like 10 minutes so that you can take that time and then fill in the details. And once you're done with that, you can, after recompiling, you can click on this download button over here, and then it'll download a PDF format. And we will share you a QR code where you can upload that, and then we will get the resume and then look at it and then see how we can make it better. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for the Olive template? Oh, okay. To edit or to view? Are you able to view this template? No? So I think you might not be able to edit on it directly if you are able to view it. So what I would ask you all to do is create a copy of it, and then you can edit on that. Yeah. Yeah. It will, you have to convert it to PDF, and it's that feature is already available over here. So if you just go to the download button over here, it will export it into PDF, and then it shows you can download a PDF over there. Oh, is it still showing you? Okay, let me fix that link quickly then. Okay. Okay, so what you can do is go to your browsers and then type in this link. Uh, I'll just enter the link in the place of my name so that you can access it easily. All small. The name shows as capitals, but make sure it is small. And let me know if I think you should be able to access it now. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So use the action verb list that is present in the EOSS page by ASU, right? And then you can download it and then look at it and then try to fill it up. Uh, let's take 10 minutes and then get this done. If any of you have any questions with respect to the formatting on Overleaf, please feel free to ask. So once you're done, what you can do is you can go to this QR code and then share your resume there. We can do a quick feedback session of sorts on your resume? Let me know once you have submitted so we can pick one of yours. And then I would like to have a volunteer whose resume you want to be reviewed. Yeah. The one that you have also works, or if you have the resume that you're editing ready, you can submit that also. Okay. So what is beneficial in terms of resumes and trying to tailor it to different job requirements is to have a master resume that kind of covers your entire journey professionally, irrespective of how small it looks like right now. Try to have a resume that kind of covers all of it, or in a document format. So whenever you're applying for a role, what you can do is like just go to your master resume, pick things from it, and then put it into a new one, and then just submit the new one. That way, you're not spending in a lot of time trying to tailor your resume to the requirements of the job requirements. There will be minor modifications in terms of keyword matching and sorts, but other than that, your job will be much faster if you have that ready. You don't have to sit and think about, okay, what have I done for this role that could fit whatever the role requires. So I do have two submissions, uh, Marina and then Madeline. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Uh, do you want me to review yours? Okay. 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 So let's go over it, right? So In this one, I think this is not the one that you have edited now. This is the old format, I'm assuming. Okay. So if you look at this, the formatting is too close over here between the each component, like your phone number and the email. It's very hard to differentiate with that dot in between. While the dot is important to kind of separate it out, if there are no spaces, it becomes very hard to read it. So that is one thing. And then try to capitalize your name entirely, right? And uh, this is a very for me personally, I don't like having a summary because it's taking away important layout information or area that you can use to put more important information. And this is not like conveying whatever that area is meant for. Like you're saying, computer science graduate with hands-on experience in web development, database backend integrations, APIs, and AI integrations in web development, seeking full-time opportunities in 2025. So if you're applying for full-time roles, that already shows them that you're applying for full-time roles. And this information over there is redundant, right? And you're talking about the different projects that you have done. And I'm pretty sure your projects would cover that already. And saying you're a computer science student is already covered in your education, right? So the different parts of your summary is already covered in the rest of your resume. And this layout, which is very precious because all you have is just one page of layout, right? So it is very important to utilize it wisely. So you could entirely remove the summary, unless what you could do is you can take the United States citizen and put it in this section where you have your phone number and all the other details, because there might be roles where they require US citizens only, right? So in such roles, having that information up there helps. So you could better represent that. I think the only differentiating factor is that one phrase. That's all over there. And education is good. This is a certification, right? So certifications should usually come at the end along with the achievements, because it doesn't really add a lot of value unless a job requires it. If a job requires it, you can push it up. If not, I would recommend putting it at the end. After that, technical skills is fine. No comments over there, right? And in your skill sets, make sure that you're posting whatever you're 100% comfortable with, because let's say you're showing, like, let's say TypeScript. I don't see TypeScript here, but let's say if you had TypeScript and you're not comfortable with it, and then if this asks you to start working in TypeScript, that becomes a problem. So don't have skill sets that you're not 100% comfortable with. Have only those you can work with and you're confident with it. You can learn on the job, but don't have it in your resume. Experience, I think it's good. No comments on that. Probably what you can do is improve the representation of it. Like you're talking a lot of developed, conducted, and then demonstrated. You're using good verbs over here, right? What you could do is you can have it as pointers entirely, because these points are not conveying a lot of information, because you can combine them into one pointer. And then try to bold information that could be very relevant for this project, right? So I don't see metrics over here. What are the metrics that were observed in this project? If there are no numbers, what was the impact of the project? It was a proof of concept, right? So that sponsor would have said that, okay, this is a good proof of concept or something. There would be some sort of a feedback, right? What was that feedback that you can incorporate over here? So what's the impact of the project that you, because it's an experience item, it is important to highlight that impact of that experience. Projects might not need it, but experience, if it is always better to have it. So try to think about that. Okay, let me go over it. Responsible for developing an AI chatbot to assist Toronto's senior citizens applying for federal financial assistance. The role included implementation solutions, user testing, assessments, and documentation. developed in A. Okay. So how well did it work for them, right? Because it was a prototype, right? So, or a proof of concept. Could say that we tested this project as a proof of concept with 6 users who found this useful or something, if there is a metric that you can add over there. Project work, I think you can add more details over here. Try to describe the problem statement a bit. Right, self-hosted N8N on Docker to automatically send SMS. It's good, but what exactly the reason for this project? Why did you implement it? Right. So have define the task a bit more, and then try to add numbers over here. And I think the metrics kind of stand for the remaining 2 projects as well. But with respect to activities and then awards and scholarship, no complaints on that. Those are perfect. Yeah. Oh, it's recording. Sorry. It's
yeah. You would possibly have your relevant coursework there because I see a lot of job descriptions which stress on the coursework. If you feel like you're doing it, if you have to towards management, you will put it out there. And also, in the experience section, so there are 3 bullets, and then there's like explanation of what you did. I will have a set for all of it to be like one standard format. It is easier to be accurate. This help have is whenever you guys see sentence in the resume as a part of, let's say, project or experience, you're technically utilizing one entire line. For example, let's say you are talking about applied ASIS practices and you're just ending at JUnit. The entire white space at the back can be actually utilized to include some substantial information which might be interesting. But there's also a ensure that you might not overdo it so that it becomes complex and so much. So one would if you utilize empty white space to the max level, then it's a balanced blend. What needs to be and if it's also not too much.
oh, yeah. Thanks for sharing your resume. Cool. With this, right? So, what are the key takeaways and action items for all of you? Right. So, one, go ahead and fill in the overleaf template so that you have a standardized template, right? And you can share. It becomes very easy for the ATS to pass through it. And then I have seen the ATS to kind of succeed almost 70 to 85% of the time on that format, right? And key action items or key takeaways are tailor to each role. So have a master resume and tailor your resume to each role, and then quantify your results, right? And then use strong action verbs. Don't make it very simple saying that I collaborated with this team. Collaborations are important, but your experience item shouldn't start with collaborated. That doesn't indicate your personal contribution to that project, right? And then keep it concise and polished. So whenever you're looking at star method, you might feel like you want to add 4 sentences for each point, but the more you do it, the less layout that you'll have on your resume, and you'll not be able to enter all the details that you want to on your resume. So always try to make it into one sentence and then try to represent whatever you want to in that format. And always ask for multiple feedbacks. Don't just stick to one person for the feedback all the time. Send your resumes to different people, ask them for feedback. And then I think SoDA, WiCS, AIS, all of us have a resume feedback channel on our Discord. So what you can do is come there, put your resume out there and ask for feedback. And all our teams are always active in responding to these kind of questions. So please feel free to use those spaces anytime you want. With that said, I think we are at the end of the session. Gunika has already spoken about what we do at AIS. So if you're interested in getting involved or want to be part of as members, actively participate in our events. So please feel free to join our Discord and follow us on our Sun Devil Central. We have all our social media links on these, so you can get all the links through these portals. Lastly, any questions from anyone? Cool. I think then we can end the session.